Welcome and bonsoir. Je m'appelle Wale. That is all I can say for French for now. But I can promise you that in another 2 months, I'll be very fluent in French. Thank you. So this is what we are talking about today. It's a workshop. A workshop is different from a talk shop. A workshop is practical. We're going to interact. If I'm talking too fast or I'm too slow, you can call me to order. If you have something more important to tell us than what I'm telling you, you can stop us and tell us. I'm not an expert because the beauty of literature is that everybody has his own area of expertise. So nobody can say he's superior to the other. So some of you will have done more travels than me, or you'll have written more than me, only that maybe you are not published. So we are here to learn from each other. So I want to thank the residency for bringing me here, because since we arrived here with my wife, we've been treated like VIPs. Everything we wanted, we are given this. So I want to thank them for bringing me here. And I want to thank the staff of the Institute of Advanced Studies who have worked behind the scene, those who have been making sure that we are comfortable. I don't want to name names. Everybody knows themselves. And I want to thank them, the technicians, the digital people, those who have put my beautiful picture. I'm not as handsome as that. They made me to look so handsome on the screen. I want to thank them. And I want to welcome all the participants, students, teachers, my friends. Some people just heard that because it's me. They came. I want to thank them. I will make sure you don't go because we want to enjoy this together. So this is the way I want us to go. We will start with self-introductions because I like us to know each other so that when I see you outside, I can know you, that we are friends. And then, just like Professor Tazi said, we'll look at the schedule of the workshop together and see which ones we can accommodate among ourselves. But I want to assure you that because you have come here, you will live with 3 good things. Number 1, you will learn or know more on how to write, particularly travel writing, because it's a very, how would I put it? It's an emerging genre in literature. It was beautiful, it was popular before, then it died. Now it's coming up. We already have a Nobel laureate in literature who won because of travel writing. And there are numerous publishing outlets, online, digital, that are looking for good stories. And if you are very top, National Geographic is looking for you. They can send you to exotic places, all expenses paid, and then they will give you a fat salary. So it's something that you should listen to. Then, of course, we go on to definitions and background information. Then we will now start the real workshop. We're not going to rush because we have 5 sessions. We want to take it easy, especially since some of my friends are elderly students. I don't want to rush them too much. We'll take our time. We can stop and check, and then examples, practical examples. Like I said, it's a workshop, not a talk shop. I want you to live here with practical things. The second thing that will happen is that, like you've been told, we'll go on for an excursion. I understand it's a beautiful mountainside. Then you come back and write about that, your experience. And for the best articles, the Institute will publish them in an anthology. And who knows? That could be the beginning of your millions. Maybe that's where you're going to be discovered as the next great thing that happened to travel literature. And then, yes. So, yes. Okay. No. Well, I've been told that any language can be translated. We have facilities to translate languages from Buddhist.
Well, it speaks.
Thank you. AI is my helper. I will translate anything for you. All right. So we take the test on how you prepare for a journey, because as travel writers, you are different from tourists. Tourists only go out to enjoy the scenes. A travel writer is going for business. Writing, when you travel, is hard work. It's hard work, as you will see. But you can balance it with a little enjoyment. Then we will now talk about the journey itself. What are the things you must look out for to get the best out of your trip? And then the writing, that is the biggest thing. Because when you are traveling, all you are doing is taking notes, jotting down things. Or if you have a microphone, you can take some recording. You are doing research, so to say. Those of you who are students of research students, you know what I'm talking about. You are gathering data when you're on the journey. When you come back, you sit down and do the writing. Because your writing must be interesting. Nobody can buy a book to be bored. The greatest thing you can do as a writer is to bore your reader. And the fellow will say he has wasted his money. So the writing is important. It must be very interesting. And then editing is also very important. When you do travel writing, you must be careful about facts. It's not fiction. In fiction, you can do anything you like. But you can't tell somebody that you went from here to Marrakesh in 3 hours. They will just be laughing at you and say, look at this fellow. He didn't go anywhere. So every fact must be cross-checked. Spellings, you must be sure about the spelling of the destination you are going, everything. So that is the editing stage. And then publishing. We'll go through all that. Like I said, you have options online, you have digital, you have other publishers looking for good material. And then what are the challenges you will face? Because I must tell you, there are challenges, just like in everything in life, there will be challenges. But there will be solutions too. And then we'll conclude. You are in good company. So this is a little about myself. I'm a medical doctor, politician. I was a former member of the parliament in Nigeria. I'm a writer and a sportsman. I know many of you are afraid of politicians, but I think I'm a good politician, so no need to be afraid.
But which sport?
Sorry?
Which sport?
Sports, hockey and athletics. Okay. Yes. When I was younger, I could run from here to Casablanca. But now I'm an old man. I can only walk around the campus. And it's because of this, my background, that I decided to pick the title of my project at the residency, The Engaging Tripod of Literature, Medicine, and Politics. Because those three things, even though you look at them, you think these are strange things, they share a lot of commonality. And that is the purpose of my project, to let everybody know that there is a lot of connection and synergy between literature, medicine, and politics. But you will know that when I present to the institute, and then you can go and buy the copies from them to read. And currently, I'm the Secretary General of the Pan-African Writers Association. The head office is in Accra, Ghana. And the association is in charge of 54 African writers associations. That is our job, to coordinate. And our writers write in 5 different languages: Arabic, English, French, Swahili, Portuguese, and French. And that's why sometimes people think I know all these languages, because we have gadgets in my office that can translate anything. because people send in reports from all over the continent, and I have to reply immediately. So when they see me in real life, they start saying bonjour, and I start looking at them like this. Say, oh, why you not the one who sent a letter yesterday? I will laugh. I say, that's technology for you. So that's what I do now. I've got about 14 novels, just like I've been introduced. Out of this, I got 8 awards, 1 film adaptation, and 1 Russian translation. I'm looking forward to more translations. Somebody's doing me French. I hope I can get someone to do my Arabic. Maybe I will commission one of the young writers here to do that for me. And then I've done 8 biographies. These are biographies of famous Africans. And out of some of them, in some ways, ghost writing, ghost works. That's another field entirely. 2 days ago, we had a webinar where I was a speaker, and we spoke about this, biographies. How do you ghost for people? Somebody wants to write, but he doesn't have the time, he doesn't have the skill, and then he hires you to write for him. So you have to charge the person plenty of money, because your name will not be on that book. You've lost your copyright, so you have to be compensated. So that's another, maybe one of these days we can talk about that. Then I have 3 collections of travel stories. I've traveled to more than 70 countries in the world, and I have collections of, I could only bring small copies. This one collection, this another one. Each collection has about 20 travelogues. So in all, I have about 80 travel stories. And this is what I want to impart on you today. And then I have 2 short story collections, 10 children's books on gender-based violence. You know, children's books are usually well illustrated. Some of them are very small, and then booklets on HIV/AIDS because of my medical background, and then 3 children's books on COVID. So this is in brief what I do. And going back. So this is something we said we're going to discuss later. Our proposed schedule, we'll come back to this, but just to let you know that we have about 5 sessions. Today is February 6. We have another one on February 10, 14. Then that's the field trip that has been explained to you, a weekend trip. And that is like your practical experience. All of us, I want all of us to go. I don't want to say those who are interested. All of us should go. So that when we go, we'll keep notes, and then we'll come back. Between March 1st to 21, we will all go home during the holidays and write about that trip. Because all the things we've been talking for the first 3 lectures, you will now put them to use in writing your own story. We'll give that stretch of time, and then we'll come back for assessment. I will look through them, and then the most beautiful ones will go to the Institute of Advanced Studies and hand over to Madam Director to help us publish, so that a few of you, or all of you, can start getting known in the international world. And then, so that is, well, we're going to discuss this later, but this is just an idea. All right.
Could you take a picture of the screen, please?
Yes.
And if you could send an email back with the form address that you got, so we make sure that if there is anybody who cannot attend one of the sessions, for example.
Yes.
Are you all okay? No, 2, 3? No. We have 2 people who cannot.
He's a professor.
So maybe if you, I'll send you a doodle, and then you select the dates that fit and don't fit. This way we give you the opportunity to follow. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now let's start with definition. So travel writing, like I said, we will not be in a hurry. We have a lot of time to go through this. I have about 52 slides. You can just take a few today, then we'll continue next time. So if we want to stop me anytime, you can signify, and then we'll stop. So, but we are looking at this definition. The travel writing is about places, persons, and things in other places. And we're also writing about how to travel when to travel and advice on traveling, all with the reader in mind. Like I said, you are not a tourist now. You are a travel writer. And there's a difference between tourism and travel writing. A tourist is just looking around, enjoying the scene, going for exotic dinners and all those things, dancing. But a travel writer is on duty. So, and the focus is the reader. How do I write to engage my reader? Because you want to write something for someone to read. And then, it's about relaying your travel experiences to others so that they may emulate them, or at the very least, not make the same mistakes you did. Because even when you write, when you travel, and there are some challenges, like I said. We are going to explain the challenges that you usually face. And it's also about writing about things in your own backyard that are exotic to everyone else, like a local farmer's market, historical site, a restaurant or museum. And that was why I was so happy when we were going around. And so people said, I've not traveled internationally, but I've done a lot of local travel. That is fantastic. You don't need to leave your environment before you can travel. You can go to Marrakesh, you can go to Rabat, and you get a beautiful story, even better than somebody who went to Bangladesh or somewhere exotic. So don't think that you must have to use your passports. Apologies to those with blank passports. So now, travel has a long history. People have always traveled, from ancient inns to modern resorts. But travel writing began more or less during the Elizabethan times. Shakespeare got much of the background material for his plays, such as The Merchant of Venice, Romeo and Juliet, from Elizabethan travel guides to Italy. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Shakespeare. Yes. So that is just to show you that people have been traveling long ago, even before we were all born. Then what are the advantages of traveling, of travel writing? Travel writing celebrates the differences in manners and customs around the world. It helps readers to understand other people and places. It helps readers plan their own trips and avoid costly mistakes while traveling. But most of all, it lets readers travel to far-off destinations that they may never see. You see, a good travel writer is a writer that when somebody reads your travel story, you will say, look, it was like I was in that place. You took me to that place. Then you know that you have succeeded. That is the reason why we are here, to carry people along, even without leaving their corner of their bedroom. You can take them to distant places through your works. So, it's not everybody that can be a travel writer. This may be surprising to you, but these are the characteristics of a travel writer. The person must have passion for traveling. And I'm happy that 90% or 99% of those of you in this room love traveling. Because when people were saying, I've been traveling since I was a child, I was traveling, I was happy. I said, yes, these are the correct people I want. So you must have passion for traveling. Then 2, you must be tolerant of other people's culture, religion, and language. Some people are very intolerant of other people. Those people can't make good travel writers. They will go to a different country, they look at people and say, see the way they are even looking, see what they are eating. Or they will ask you to taste something, say, I can't taste it. No, that is, a travel writer must be ready to experiment, must be able to embrace other cultures, other religions, languages. Then you should be able to take up challenges. Because they will ask you to, some of your friends will say, you said you like traveling with your friends. Yes. You can call a friend and say, let's go to Morocco together. Say, Morocco, it's too far, 5 hours. Ooh. But somebody will say, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, let's go. I'm ready. That's it. That is the spirit. You know that is a real travel writer. There was a time we were supposed to go to Djibouti for a conference. And everybody was shouting, where's Djibouti? Djibouti. Said the only thing I have at Djibouti is a lot of pirates and killing and dying and all these things. I said, I'm ready to go. Let's go. We went to Djibouti, and we got there. We enjoyed ourselves. Then we wanted to go to Somalia. Say, Somalia, ooh, that dangerous place. Ooh, I'm ready to go, let's go. I went, got a fantastic story there, enjoyed myself, had my first taste of camel meat. Very, very, very tasty. So, sorry.
What did you think about Morocco before coming here in Morocco?
This is my fourth time of coming to Morocco. I'm a Moroccan.
Yes, you are.
Yes, because last time I went to the embassy in Accra for my visa, and the lady looked at me and said, "Oh, you've gone 4 times." I said, "Yes, I don't need a visa again. Can I go?" So I'm used to Morocco. Now, then you must be a hard-working writer, because like I said, travel writing is hard work. It's not just for you to go and lock off yourself you're not a tourist. You go and be watching CNN in your bedroom, in your hotel room, and that's not writing. You must get out of the place, put on your jacket, and get into the street and get stories out. Then eagerness to learn new things. You must be very enthusiastic about things. Ask questions. What is happening here? What is this? What is this? How do they prepare it? Taste everything, and then ability to read widely. You need to read widely because before you can write good travel stories, you need to also read about other writers who have written things. And you can also read about some travel magazines. That's why I mentioned National Geographic. I've been reading this since I was a child. I'm a bit addicted to National Geographic. I recommend it for anybody. Luckily, you have the online versions now. You can even Google it because they teach you how to depict situations, places in a very beautiful way. And any travel writing journal or magazine, these days you young people are lucky. In our own time, we have to go and buy the hard copy. Now you can just go online, travel writing magazine, and about 20 will pop at you. Boom. Go through, read, see the way they describe things. Learn from them. And I mentioned travel writing to tourism. That's a difference. Then, these are just some nuggets of travel stories, just a piece of advice. It is about places, persons, and things. Like we just said, it has a long history. The reader is the focus. Don't forget that. You are not writing for yourself. You are not writing for your mom, because mommies are very nice. Whatever you write is good. And you are not writing for your boyfriend or girlfriend, because they will say, "Oh, my darling, fantastic story," even though it's not fantastic. But it's for the reader. The reader is the judge, ultimate judge. So don't forget that. You must, whatever will make a reader to be opening the next page and watching, not to be bored. And then it also celebrates global manners and customs. For me, I've been to so many countries, and I've come to the conclusion that human beings are the same everywhere. Forget our difference in tradition and all kind of thing. Basically, human beings are the same. Very nice. Once you are nice, and once you don't disobey the rules of the country, you will enjoy yourself. So that is something you learn. Then I mentioned you can write about local places and foreign places, and then you help readers to get their imagination. So now we want to start. We are going to the mountain, looking there now. So that is our focus now. We have to prepare. You have to research about your destination if you want to travel anywhere, whether it's local or foreign. And how do you research? There are so many ways of researching. Luckily, the Google machine is there for you. Go there, find out about the custom of the place, find out about the weather. This time of the year, is it cold? Mama has told me that where we are going is a bit cold. So I know that I have to prepare. So you must prepare anywhere you are going. Find out about the place. Before I came to Morocco, I asked my friends, are they in winter or summer? They say, "Oh, it's cold, though. Don't bring your jacket." So we brought our jackets. So you must prepare. Don't just enter the plane and disappear somewhere. And then you get there and start shouting and crying that, yeah. No. Prepare. Find out about things. How far these places. What are some of their customs. So that if you have to go there, some places you have to cover your head if you're a lady. Some places you don't do some things. So you find out about that. Then your luggage, like I said, you are not going there to buy, you are not a trader. You're going to buy things to sell, or you are going to work. So your luggage should be as light as possible. And if you are somebody who has some medical issues, make sure you take care of that. Make sure you have your medicine, your drugs. If you are allergic to some food items, you can pick a few things that you know you can't do without. In my area from Nigeria, we like hot sauce, hot pepper. So when I'm traveling, I have a bottle of pepper, hot pepper, anywhere I go. So they put the food there, I will put it on top before I start eating. So if you have anything like that, prepare. And then your equipment of office. My friends from Nigeria are laughing at me. Yes, we like hot sauce. You prepare your equipment, your tools, pens, notebooks, your computer, phone, camera. Again, younger generation, you are very lucky. Some of them, only one gadget will have everything. In our own days, camera is here, another one is here, another one is here. Then you start going as you, whoa. Well, these days, something in your pocket can take care of everything. So, well, get ready. And then your documents. This is very important. So I don't run foul of the law. Your passport, if you need a visa, make sure you get the visa. Tickets. These days, people prefer return tickets. So make sure you have a return ticket. Don't say, when I get there, I will buy a return ticket. And by that time, you finish your money, and then you are stranded. So then address, you need where you are going, and then your phone at destination. Well, I put COVID certificate there, but I think that one is already going out of. Although some countries still look for yellow fever vaccine. So yes, yellow fever. So you have to find out, make sure that all these things are complete, so that you will not be embarrassed. And then money issues, cash, credit card, foreign exchange. Luckily, like I said again, things are easier now. People can use their card to pay and that kind of thing. Medications, I mentioned it. I put antidiarrheas there because they say travel expands the mind and also loosens the bowel. Because most travels, any change in food or something, you may have what they call traveler's diarrhea. It's a common thing. So you should have 1 or 2 tablets to take care of that until your stomach adjusts to the food and everything. And then security. It's always nice to inform a relative or a friend about your trip so that you can be accompanied, but it's better to go alone. Actually, what I wanted to say is that it's nice to let them know where you are, so that in case they need to know how to get in touch with you, it's always nice. So that was me in Morocco, my first trip to Morocco. My wife said I don't know how to dance, but when I got here, they loved my dancing, and I became the star of that. That was in Rabat about 6 years ago at a function. So these are some of the things you enjoy when you travel. And then this was a trip to Zanzibar. Somebody mentioned Ghana. Ghana is from the Lomé-Lorette. It's from Zanzibar. Yeah. So I took a trip from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, to Zanzibar. It was a 4-hour boat ride. And then I was also in Russia for the World Cup. Yeah, my colleague knows that we are both football fans. So I went to watch the World Cup in Moscow, and I had the opportunity of entering this very fast train, which I think is about the same speed with the train here. Yeah, and that was me with my Nigerian football fan jersey in Russia for the World Cup. We had a nice time there, even though I couldn't understand Russian language, but we were able to survive. And then Istanbul, that is Turkey. I had a stopover there once, and I made friends with this fellow in his toffee shop. Yes. Yes. I think it was in the bazaar in Istanbul. Yes. And then, who's from Rwanda? Yes. I was in Kigali. And this is a place that we always like to visit the genocide memorial in Rwanda. I had a very nice time in Rwanda. And yes, back to Morocco again. I went to Tangiers by train. That was a couple of years ago. It was a very lovely experience. And there was an argument in the train which is better? Is it Rabat or Tangiers? Everybody say, oh, I prefer Tangiers. It's a coastal town, it's beautiful. Anyway, the debate continues. So, now, when you are, like I said, travel writing is hard work. All your senses must be used. The sense of smell, of sight, what you see, smell, what you smell, what you touch, and even taste, and what you hear during your trip. Sometimes you get to a country and their language is a mixture of about 5 languages, maybe English, French. Sometimes it's only Arabic you are hearing. All this must reflect in your writing. Sight, what you see. Is it the countryside? Is it in the city that is so packed? And then smell. Sometimes when you are in a tightly packed bus, human sweat can come to you. The stench of some things or petrol fumes. Sometimes when I'm in an African country in the rural area and I travel by bus, all this smell will come to you from different things. And then when you touch things, you want to know how something feels, you have to touch. Because all this must reflect in your writing. And then you have to be focused. Because it's very easy to get distracted. You are in a strange place. The tendency is to be looking too much at one side that you miss another thing. But you remember that you are not a tourist. I'm a travel writer. So go back to yourself. Write it down. And then take notes as much as possible. But with respect. What I mean by respect is that your friends take you for lunch or dinner. Instead of conversing with them, you are busy writing everything they are saying. Then they start looking at you, whether you are a spy or KGB, somebody. I've been in a company of people that they say, oh, well, that's enough. You are not concentrating. What are you writing since morning? Then I have to say, I'm sorry. So these things must be balanced. And then record your inner thoughts. Make your writing realistic, where you have fears, where you have anxieties, where you have made mistakes. For example, sometimes when I go to the UK, I make mistake in entering the wrong train. You know, the London Underground is so busy. Sometimes this must be reflected in your writing. It's not a sin to say you made a mistake. Or when you are afraid that you are entering a place and suddenly you see that the place is dark, and then you are sure, let it show. So that people will know that what you are writing is real, not just made up. And then interviews and interactions with locals is very important. Don't hide in your hotel. The best way to know about a new place is to talk to the locals. Like you go and buy something from the butcher or something, and then let them talk to you. Or taxi drivers. Taxi drivers are the best source of information. What I normally do is that I go to a new country or a new place. I try to hire a taxi for about 1 hour. I just say, please, can you take me around the town? I'll pay for 1 hour. And then he likes to converse. You know, taxi drivers are the same all over the world. They're usually bored. They're very talkative. So they like to talk to somebody. You can ask him questions, any question. Oh, what's your president doing? Oh, that man is a stupid man. He doesn't know how to do anything. Or how is the weather? How is your food? No, they will give you a lot of gist for your writing. So it's nice. Like I said, you are not a tourist, so don't go and sit in your hotel room. You go out and talk to the natives. Then, it's also very important that you visit important places. Anywhere you go. By the way, I'm sure the Institute will make available this material for you. So if you can't write, you can just enjoy the conversation. I'm sure you'll get all this information. So you should visit important places like tourism sites, markets, museums, historical monuments. because this is where you will learn a lot. When I went to Rwanda, I had to go and visit the Memorial Arcade because it's a place that everybody goes. And when I went to Egypt, I went to look at the pyramids. Of course, you can't go to Egypt without seeing the pyramids or without seeing the River Nile. And when I went to Congo Kinshasa, I made sure I had a ride on the Congo River. And my tradition is that each time I go to a new country, I like to dip my leg in the river of the place, just like to show that I'm here. Until somebody told me that, "Man, Museo, crocodile. Ooh, River Congo is a crocodile-infested river. So, but make sure you go out and get a feel of everywhere. Then, some of you who go for conferences, you can steal a little time and do your travel writing. I've done that several times because sometimes traveling to foreign countries is expensive, and sometimes I can't afford it. But when I'm invited for a conference, what I do is that I will usually either sacrifice my lunch or coffee break. During the lunch break or coffee break, I will just quickly, instead of going for lunch, I will go to town, take a taxi for just 30 minutes, go around and see what's happening. Or after the conference, I can stay back for 1 or 2 days and finish up do my own travel writing. So that way you can cut some costs. Usually what I do is that if the hotel where we held the conference is too expensive, I'll just go to a cheaper hotel for 2 more days. I did that in Rwanda. Because when we went to Rwanda, they put us in one of these posh 5-star hotels. You were paying $1,000 a day. I said, no way. So after the conference, I just asked the gate man, please, I want cheap hotel. He said, oh, no, no, go there. It's only $20 a day. And I went there, finished my writing. So these are some of the ways you can cut costs, because it's not every time you have so much money. And I say photographs. You need to take permission. Sometimes you have to take permission, because I've been arrested about 3 times in some countries because I was taking pictures where I should not have taken them. The worst place was in Niger Republic, and the people really extorted. They took almost all my money before they released my camera. So you sometimes don't take it for granted. Even some airports. I remember when we were in Djibouti. I was landed in Djibouti airport. People were so carried away by the beautiful thing. They said, beep, 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 beep. Before you know it, they were all rounded up by the security men. So you have to go and plead and bargain. So take permission, and then take care of your camera. Sometimes you want to pose and you see somebody going and say, please, can you take my picture? And the fellow takes your picture and then runs away with your camera. So you have to be careful, know who to give your camera to take pictures. And then language barrier. These days, again, technology has helped people. Many of these are smartphones. You can just put on the translator there. Somebody will speak to it. That was how we survived in Russia, where we stayed in the hotel. We just put our phone and the lady will speak Russian to it, and then the translator will come out. That was how we were able to communicate. So these days, language is no more barrier. It's getting better. So these are the scenes of my travels in Nigeria, just to let you know that you don't need to travel abroad. I mean, I'm happy many of you said all your travel has been in Morocco. The same thing with me. This was a part of eastern part of Nigeria. And then this is another place in Nigeria. That young man there is a bishop, Catholic bishop. And then the riverine part of Nigeria, we have a lot of riverine areas. These are the south. And we have to travel by canoe. That is all of us. Some people ran away. They didn't want to enter the canoe, but we went across. And then this, they call them kilishi. Kilishi, this dry meat. It's a delicacy in northern Nigeria. It's a big business. So people go. So I went there and I visited this young man who was doing that. And then that's me on the big River Niger. If you remember your geography, River Niger and River Benue, they met in one part of Nigeria called Makurdi. That is where I am. And here I took this picture. So just to let you know that your local travels can be as important as international travels. And then back to the football stadium. I was following the Nigerian football team. That's me in the stadium cheering the football team. So these are some of the things we do to keep ourselves busy and happy. So I will stop here for now and then just ask you the questions so that we don't just, like I said, it's supposed to be interactive. So I'll pause for a while and give room to people who have questions, who wants to critique, and who have something to tell us. Yes, I saw somebody's hand there. Are you putting on your hand?
Just summarizing what you just said so far, in order for us to have the best kind of writing, we have to be the best tourist we can be.
Yes.
And come with curiosity to the place.
Yes.
Beforehand, doing research beforehand, and come with the curiosity to check this and this and this and this.
Yes.
This type of food, this type of plane,
Yes.
this type of mean of transport, like you.
Sure. Sure. I'll do that. Yes. So, yes. Okay. I'll come back to you.
I just want to ask, how do you deal with, well, I call it disappointment? Well, of course, you said we should research.
Yes.
So, about where we are going. But
Yeah.
sometimes, maybe like first time, we are not really prepared. Let me say, for example, you made mention of the food, of the pepper.
Yes.
Because you like chili, you like eating chili, right?
Yes.
So I think that was one of the biggest challenge for me, coming here and for the first 2 weeks, eating something without chili. I was a bit mini depressed. And of course, I think someone invited me over, and the food, I couldn't eat it because it was
flat.
It was not chili, and it looked as if I was being disrespectful. Like, have you been in such situation? Because I couldn't eat the food. I just had to drop it, and I know they were disappointed. So, have you been in such situation, and how do you
Cope.
with? Like, how do you deal with that?
Thank you.
I
Yes.
want to know what's kilishi that we saw.
Kilishi. Okay. I'll come back. I will tell you. Okay. Any other so that I can take everything together? Okay. Yes.
I want to ask you about how you can manage the time to write. Like in June, I'm gonna do a round trip with bicycle over Morocco. So how can I manage my time since I will be tired and stuff, and I don't have time. And to write the best of it, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Just a question of curiosity. You have traveled in different places, visited a lot of places, and maybe each and everyone has left an impression for you. But just being clear, which is the place that left the most impressions, or the best place you think you have been traveling in, and what was that impression? Thank you.
That's Morocco, right?
You said about, you talked about the benefits of travel writing. And one of the things is it has a main focus about the reader. The reader, we want him to have the curiosity to come to the place and experience it for himself, and also to avoid costs and scams and things like that. But to what extent would I be able to put myself, my experience in personal, how personal can I get so that it can be benefiting for him?
Yes. Thank you.
So I have a question for the travel writing. So as I said, I'm used to write about fiction and etc. So I use a lot of metaphors and feelings through my writing. Here I wrote that we should use our five senses and our inner thoughts and etc. Should I completely change my way of writing, or can I keep my yes, can I keep my style?
Good. Good. That's a good question. Thank you.
Anyone?
Any other? Yes.
So my question is not really about traveling writing. I used to write a lot, as I said, about my personal journey. Most of it's about my struggle, but I never had the courage to keep it. So usually it's either I throw it in the trash or or I just burn it because I feel like it's something that should not exist. It feels like I'm burning feelings or I'm burning what's happened, like deleting it from my life. But like now I would want to share my personal journey, and I don't know where to get the courage to keep what I write.
Thank you. Okay. Any other question before I start answering? All right. Okay, so let me start from beginning. Yes. What to keep? Sorry? Curiosity. Sorry here. You want the question? Yes. Okay, please go ahead.
I have two questions. Okay. The first question is that do we travel mainly to write, or we write while we travel? Because you said it's a hard work job. You have to be focused. You have to be engaged. So either we will enjoy the travel fully, we live the moment, or we have to commit to writing and traveling. So can we do both, or we mainly travel for to write?
Wonderful.
The second question. Okay, I think I noted it here.
You want to go to the books for me? Go ahead.
You said we have to note everything, literally not everything, but mostly
As much as possible.
Yeah, most important thing. Sometimes we have to engage with people, and sometimes writing or noting while we are with people might be inappropriate. So, can we what is the balance between writing and engaging with people? Because traveling and engaging with people is part of the trip.
Yes.
And it's part of living the experience.
Yes,
So
yes.
you have to hear from the locals
Yes.
and how their
Yes.
culture, religion,
Yes.
language, and their experience. So
Yes.
how can we create
you.
the balance?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Yes.
You mentioned about preparing and stuff like that. So in my experience, I found out that many good stories come out from surprises, not being really
Prepared.
not knowing, not planning well and stuff like that. So do you think that too much planning can spoil the fun and spontaneity of the
Thank
travel?
you. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So can I start answering the questions now? Yes. Good. I will start from the beginning. You will be a good travel writer. Is there too much preparation will spoil the whole fun? It's good. You're right. You're right. Actually, for beginners, it's nice to prepare. But after a while, when you become a veteran, you discover that you don't need too much preparation. The things come to you by route. But when you are starting out, it's always nice to prepare, because it can be embarrassing to be caught on the wrong foot in a foreign country. You won't really you won't like yourself. But after a while, you can take some chances. Yes, but sometimes you take chances again. You realize you have forgotten your passport in the hotel room, and so. But I agree with you that too much preparation can spoil the whole thing. So I think it's a balancing act. Initially, when you're starting off, prepare well. After a while, the preparation will start coming down because you are now used to it. Then the next question is, again, about balancing. You want to keep notes. At the same time, you want to talk to people. And that's where the midget, the microphone recorder, comes in handy. Everywhere I go, in my bag there, I have my midget there. Well, let them say anything. You are the one you are the one on duty. And sometimes you don't even have to let them see it. There are so many microphones these days. There are ones that you wear like pen, that one you put in your pocket. I've done that several times. When I know that I'm going out for an event and I will not have enough time to be keeping notes, and people will start looking at you as if something is wrong with you, like this lady. So I just put on my midget, I put it in my pocket, and then I'll keep walking about. And we are talking, and when I get back to my hotel room, I download everything, even though it will cost me some battery. But so then also to know that these days you can, there are many ways of recording events without having to write. I've talked about recording. You can, pictures too can make you to remember things. Just take pictures of where you're about the effort, then you remember that, oh, we went there. So, but important thing is that keep notes, because your memory sometimes can be overloaded when you're on the road. You think you remember, and then you won't remember. Then, yes, the fellow that asked, you are the same person, yes, that do you travel to write or you write to travel? Initially, again, you should travel because you want to write. But after some time, when you have become an expert, in quotes, because nobody can be an expert in everything, but at least you are now used to it. You can now take, just like I mentioned, you went for a conference, and you know that where you have gone to, you have not been there before. Make sure you take some time to do some research. You can sacrifice your lunch break or your coffee break, or you can stay back after the conference, maybe 1 or 2 days, and nose around town, get a taxi to take you around, and then that is part of it. But professional, well, it's only once or twice that I've been commissioned to go for a trip and write about it. But you may get to that position in life. I mean, magazines and organizations are looking for travel stories. In that case, you know you are going specifically to write. But initially, you can balance it. And if you have any opportunity to travel, maybe your boss sent you somewhere, you can use that opportunity to do some writing. Then the lady that asked that what to keep, you want to write, you are keeping something. Yes, it's your story. If there are some unpleasant things that you feel you wouldn't like people to know about, you can keep them. There was a day a friend came to pick me up from the airport. I traveled to a town in Nigeria, and he came to pick me at the airport. And as we are going to the hotel, his car stopped as a fault. So we had to push the car for about 30 minutes before we got help. He now turned to me and said, Wale, please, I don't want this to appear in your travel log. Please, my friends will laugh at me. So such cases, you will keep them away. Or a friend that had a road trip in Nigeria, and he had diarrhea. He was in the car. He was in the bus, public transport, and he was telling the driver that stop. I want to use myself. I must say, I can't stop here. It's dangerous to stop here. I can't stop here. By the time he stopped, the fellow had messed up his jeans and everything. So I told him, put it in your travel log. He said, no, I can't put it in my travel log. You see, these are some of the things that happen when you're on the road. And it's up to you to know what to keep and what not to keep. And I think the same story about fiction to travel. How do you change your style? Okay, I think it's the lady here that says, how do you change from being a fiction writer to a travel writer? That is a good question. But a writer is a writer. There are writers that today they can do poetry, tomorrow they will do drama, tomorrow they will do fiction, and then next time they do biography. That's me. So if you go to that position, then you know you can do anything. You can change. You can change. I've done almost everything. I've done biographies. I started with poetry, although I had to stop poetry because I thought it was too small for I wanted a bigger frame to tell my story. So I left poetry alone. But I still do other things. I still do fiction. But I know that once I'm on a project, I know, okay, this is fiction. My fiction mind takes over.
Yeah, but what I mean is
Yes.
like every writer has its own brand, own style. So should I completely forget about it? Start like brand new, or can I keep my own style and just adapt myself to?
Well, the only time, because travel story is not fiction. Yeah, it's not fiction. The only time you can use your style as a fiction writer is the way you convey your message. You can write it in a, how do I put it, in a narrative that somebody will do as if he is reading. In fact, that is the training, the teaching, that you should do your travel writing in a narrative way that people will think they are reading a story, but don't put fiction there. Everything you must write must be real, fact. Yes. Then, okay. Okay, somebody wanted to know what are the best and the worst experiences I've had. Well, I told you that I've been arrested twice. I was arrested because I took pictures in the wrong place. That wasn't a nice experience. And I've also been scammed before. Two young boys scammed, myself and my friend. We were in Alexandria, Egypt. I hope there's no Egyptian here, so that you won't feel bad. We were in Alexandria, beautiful coastal town. We were enjoying ourselves, and they came over and said, "Oh, how are you doing? We want to take you for lunch." Just out of the blues, they said, "We like you. We like." My friend, of course, was more streetwise than me. I am always nice to people. I want to be happy. So I said, "No problem. Let's go." And I said, "Look, are you mad? You never know them before they want to give you free lunch. Is it possible?" I said, "Well, why not? Maybe they want to be friendly. Let's go." Okay. So we went there to the restaurant, and these people bought food for us. Then the first one said, "Okay, I want to use the bathroom." He disappeared. My friend was saying, "Look, these people, they want to scam us." I said, "Oh, my friend, why don't you calm down? You see, we travel a lot. We know people are nice. Calm down." The second person, after looking at us twice like this, he just removed his seat and ran away into the street. And then the restaurant owner came to us and said, "Please, this is your bill. You have to pay." I said, "But these people brought us here for free lunch." He said, "There's no free lunch in Egypt." Anyway, so that was what I wrote about it again. And then about the best places, of course, it's Morocco. That's why I'm always coming back. Because each time I come here, I enjoy myself, only that I have to put on weight. And I have to go home and start jogging every morning to shed the weight. But there are so many instances that you will see, good and bad. There is no place everything will go on well. You just manage it. And then the issue of food. How do you cope with food? I've mentioned to you that for me, when I travel, I like hot spice. So I go with my chili, hot chili, and to help me to adapt. But I think more importantly is that, everything is about taste. With time, you will gradually adapt. I think we are only 4 months in Morocco. So maybe by the time you are 6 months, you don't need pepper again. You start eating. But again, like I said, travel is to learn about other people's culture. So it's nice to try and adjust to the other people, try and learn to eat other people's food. Kilishi, you wanted to know more about kilishi. Yeah, kilishi is, like I said, these are beef, but they cut them very thinly, almost like paper thin. And then they put a lot of pepper and condiments, and then they are put on fire to dry, and then they are now packed. Very tasty thing. Yeah, those of you who like to drink, It's good for taking drinks and all kind of thing. Because the more you eat it, the more thirsty you get. And maybe next time I go to Nigeria, I will buy some for you. Yes. And then somebody said he wanted a summary of everything. Well, it's not too much to say that this is just introductory part of travel story writing. And the recap is to say that travel writing is hard work, as you have seen. Because like I said, it's not fiction. You are writing about facts, and you have to double check and cross-check your facts. If you go and write something that is false, because people travel a lot, don't ever underestimate readers. Some readers have traveled more than you. So because you went to Nigeria from Morocco, you think you are the first Moroccan that will go to Nigeria. Until you discover that people have been going to Nigeria from Morocco for many years. Then you come back and say Lagos to Abuja is just 1 hour. People will start laughing at you and say, look at this man. So your facts, everything must be cross-checked and double-checked. And then you have to also be sure about spellings, names of places, people's names. It's a lot of work. And as you have seen, when you are gathering information, you must be at alert, because to bring a story to life, you need all your senses. How the place, the smell of that area, the way a train station will smell will be different from a restaurant in a 5-star hotel. The way the aroma in an airplane will be different from the aroma in a public bus. So everything must be reflected. Even the language, the way people talk on the street is different from the way they will talk in a conference, when you are in a conference. Over here, we are trying to speak good English. If you go to the motor park in Nigeria, people will speak broken English. You say, I tire for you, I not tire for you, your head not correct. These are slangs. This must be reflected in your writing. You can't say, you can't tell us that a professor in university will speak the same way as a driver of a bus. So everything must be very accurate and realistic. And then, of course, we also mentioned the fact that before you go for a journey, there are some things you must get ready. Number one, you have to research about where you are going. You know where you are going, because you are a human being. You must protect yourself. You must make sure you are not in danger. Where you are going, is it safe? Is there a civil war there? I recollect many years ago when my friend and I went to Ivory Coast for a conference. And as we were entering the hotel, we just had people rushing. People were running. I said, what's happening? They say, oh, the rebels. We didn't know that the rebels were fighting the government. Say the rebels are just 1 kilometer into the capital. They want to take over the country. We just told the taxi driver, please, we're not going to the hotel again. Take us back to the airport. You cannot stay here. Because we were caught in the middle of a rebellion in a country. If we had done our homework well and checked, maybe we would have known that it wasn't safe to travel to that kind of place at that time. So many of these things we must check. Then, of course, your documents for travel, what are the requirements? What are they going to ask you? Are the immigration? Are they going to ask for your yellow fever card? Your passport, make sure it's not expired, because people make mistakes. Some people will have forgotten that their passport is almost expired. And that's why when you go for visa, they will tell you that your passport must be at least 6 months valid before you come for visa. All these things, make sure. Then you have enough money on you, and try and know the exchange rate of the country you are going to. Because these days people travel with either euro, dollar, or pounds. Make sure that that money you are going with you will last you. Although these days of a credit card, you can survive. And then make sure that credit cards, your credit card will be tenable where you are going. Because sometimes I've gone to some countries when you go to the restaurant and they will say, no, we don't use credit card here. We use only cash. So these are some of the things. We have not got to the stage of the actual writing. We are just preparing now. And like I also mentioned, it's always nice for you to read other things that have been written about travel writing so that you have an idea of how to go about it. You can buy travel journals. Many of them are online. You can buy some other people's travel stories. He gets tired after traveling for some time. When does he have time to write? It's a good question. Don't kill yourself. When you travel and you are tired, rest. After you have come back, take a rest. There's not a competition. And then when you have recovered, then you can start writing. But you think that, but sometimes the energy is there. I find myself on a 8-hour flight, and the energy is still there. Immediately I start writing. It depends on how you feel. And sometimes I get home, I'm so tired. For 2 weeks, I don't do any writing. I just leave the documents there. So just check yourself. There's no need to. So continue from here for the next 30 minutes or so. So now this is the rewriting. You have gone for your trip and you are back home. Maybe you have taken some rest, or maybe on a good day you don't need a rest. You want to start writing. Yes, so the writing for travel writing should be written in first person because you are the fellow who went there. It's not somebody else. You are not reporting somebody else. You are reporting yourself. And then tell the story in the past tense because the incident has happened. And then be conversational in tone. That is, your narrative should be something that is, I will show you some samples of what I'm saying. But this is just the theoretical part of it. So you can also use dialogue in this case. Like you said, I was going in a bus, then the taxi driver said, I quote, "My friend, welcome to Morocco. Go here, go," no, that kind of thing. So you can use dialogues. And then you should also contain sensory details, like I mentioned before. Your fears, your anxiety. I told my wife about my experience in Taiwan. When I went to Taiwan many years ago, I was just going on the street, and Taiwan is so far away, down, close to China. They don't really see people of my skin color regularly. So I was something like a spectacle when I was walking along the street. Then suddenly I saw a group of students, they just crossed from the other side of the road, and they rushed across to me. As they were rushing to me, I was startled. I didn't know their intention. I was, well, what do I do? Do I run? Do I stay? I couldn't run because I'm in a foreign country, and I can't chase them because there are many of them. So I just stood. I said, well, here it comes. Let me take it. What's going to happen? Then they asked, oh, so when they now saw the fear on me, they said, oh, sorry, sir. We didn't want to startle you. We have been sent from the classroom to interview strangers, and you are the first black man we saw. So that's why we all rushed to interview you. So I said, no problem. So I now smiled. Okay, that's fine. So now let's talk. But I captured that scene when I wrote my travel story. I said, for a moment, I was startled. I didn't know whether to run or to stay. So when you are writing your travel story, let us know what is going on in your mind, or what was going on in your mind. Were you happy? Were you sad? Were you angry? Or that kind of thing. And then give the reader value in some way, whether that is providing useful tips for navigating or insight into a culture. Yes, like we are talking about somebody who loves eating pepper. He has said it now, when he was just saying. He said when he first came to Morocco, some of the food was a bit too bland for him. And I don't know, on one occasion, he couldn't even eat the food given to him by his visitors, by his guests. And his guests were not happy. That's a good part of your travel story because you are now talking about a culture clash. And then make it relatable to the audience. Let the audience be able to follow you in what you are doing. And then I said travel writing should be exciting to read. It should make the reader feel like they are next to you in a bullet train as it speeds along a beautiful coastline. They should be able to taste the local delicacies, rich with crayfish, and sip the coconut drink from the fruits, just as you do. They should be able to hear the chaos of the city traffic and smell the body odor of the several commuters in the congested buses. That's your duty. You are not supposed to bore your reader. Your reader didn't buy your book to be bored. He wants to be entertained in a factual way. And there are many ways of making it real by showing your reflexes, your smell, your sense of smell, the sound you hear, and all those things. And then I said, writers are artists. They present the picture through their words. Show your artistic talent in your writing by describing the place in such a complete manner that the reader actually visualizes it. Spin in a beautiful picture so as to make the reader want to visit that place. And I said I will show you some examples of some openings. This was the opening of my travel story, a stopover in Istanbul. Can you please read it for us? Can you read it for us? You have to stand up when you are reading. Okay. The mic? Does it need the mic? Let's bring it for. Okay.
We descended into Istanbul a few minutes after the daylight, just as the early morning sun set the eastern horizon ablaze with a golden haze. From the air, high-rise buildings, spikes and minarets of mosques, and cathedrals, bathed in an early morning sun, appeared as grey silhouettes against the fast approaching smudge of land. Then, suddenly, we were under the clouds, and beneath us lay an enormous sea, as it stirred in the early morning sun with colorful boats, yachts, and merchant ships bobbing on its smooth blue surface. Welcome to Istanbul, Turkey's economic, cultural, and historic center, as well as the bridge between Europe and Asia.
Thank you. Thank you. So you can see from here that the fellow who wrote this thing, where was he? Was he in the ship, or was he in the boat, or was he? Where was he when he wrote this? In the airplane. Yeah, because he said we descended into Istanbul a few minutes after daylight. So these are some of the things that must be on your mind when you are writing. This is the opening of a travel story to Istanbul. Make sure that sometimes when I want to start a story, I say, look, where do I start? You don't have to start from the beginning of your travel. You may start from something that's, for example, when I went to, it was Tanzania. We had 7 days of activities, but the last day, we had a send-off party. And there was music and dancing. And it was the music of a Nigerian artist who just released a music at that time. Paul, is it Paul? What do you call that? P-Square. It was P-Square music that was being played on that day. And I danced like anything, even though my wife thinks I'm a bad dancer. So I now started and said, where do I start this travel story? Do I start when I enter this town, the country? Or I said, that is the most exciting moment. So that was where I started the travel story. I just said there was a send-off party in the Vice Chancellor's Lodge in the University of Dar es Salaam. And as soon as the Peace Squad came on board, we were on the dancing floor, that kind of thing. Then I now went back. I said, I came to Tanzania for this. Then I started from the beginning. Because the idea is to hook your reader. Hook your reader with something that's exciting. It doesn't have to be at the beginning. It could be at the middle, it could be at the end. But make sure you hook your reader so that once he starts reading, he won't want to stop. Because that is where you lose or gain a reader at the beginning. If you bore your reader, that is the end of your story. You will throw your paper away. He has a lot of things to do with his time. He doesn't have that patience to start looking for where the thing will get interesting. You have to start getting interesting from beginning. So, who will read this for us? Let me harass you to read. Can you give him the mic? Okay.
It's midday in...
No, start from the car.
Okay, yeah. The train to Tangier. It's midday in Tangier, Morocco, and I am standing at the Tangier Marina Bay, Morocco's first urban marina, gazing into the blue waters of the Mediterranean as its freezing breeze carried to me historic smells and sounds of this ancient and historical land. And despite the slanting midday sun, the cold weather persists. Far in the distance lies Spain, separated from Tangier by a mere 20 miles off the Strait of Gibraltar. On a clear day, I'm told, one can see the whitewashed Spanish town of Tarifa, just 45 minutes away by ferry.
Thank you. Another way to start another story. This is captivating. And that is what you should look for. How to arrest your reader from the first page. There is nobody who will read this that will not feel that freezing breeze, because you are describing Tangier from that bay. And that's where, what's her name again? Lady? The fiction writer? Yes, that is where your fiction, your skill as a fiction writer will come to play. Yeah, because you can now see that freezing breeze carried to me historic smells and sounds of this ancient, it's a little bit of fiction there. Because we're not sure whether there's any history coming, but at least the breeze. Another thing is the last line there. On a clear day, I'm told. You see, don't behave as if you know everywhere. Where somebody told you something or where you read it, be humble enough to say that somebody told you. Don't try and pretend as if you know everything. Say, on a clear day, I'm told. That is, I got information from somewhere. Or you can even say on something I read, or according to history books. Always make sure that you are honest. Don't say you know everything about that's your first day there. So how will you say, how can you know that is a Spanish town? So that is one of the ways of doing it. And for me, once you start this way, you will know that you've already captivated your reader. And then anything you do after this one, your reader will be patient for you. You'll be waiting for, say, okay, let me wait for him. This is going to be interesting. But if you don't start well, you will lose him. And again, that's why I said you must do some research about where you are going. How will I know that there's a Spanish town 45 minutes away by ferry if I did not do some research? So you must, apart from what you are going to write, read about your destination, do some research. And that is how I was able to know that's a Spanish town, because I read about Tangier and Morocco before I even set my feet in Morocco. The last example before we call it a day is important that you should highlight the various attractions of that place. Like I told you, you must include in your travelogue all the available attractions of that place where you travel to. You look, when you come to Morocco, you know that people want to know about Rabat. You go to Rabat and ask them what is the popular historic visitor site. You go there. If you go to Nigeria, you ask them that what is an attractive place here. You go to Accra, Ghana, you know that people like to go to the Kwame Nkrumah Park or go to one of the beaches there. So these are some of the things you need to showcase. And for example, okay, this one, somebody will read this again. This is Congo. Mike? Yes, you will read for us. Sorry, stopping your food.
No, it's okay.
Yes.
I was so
Start from the
intrigued.
beginning, the title.
The river Congo. I was so intrigued by the river that within 24 hours of my arrival in the capital city of the Democratic Republic of Congo, I was by the riverside at the Combo area of the city for a leisurely evening walk. It was cool and windy evening, and the riverside was full of people. There were joggers, learners, lovers as well as speaking families and the groups. Along the lyrical curve of the riverside, the river elected a college of dreams and sundry voices that left a myriad of image in the mind. For the young, the river represented a heart-pounding adventure. For the lonely, a companion. For the weary, solace, and for a writer, a repository of stories. The river, a romantic interlude to the difficult history of the Congos, is also dividing line between the capital city of the two countries. From my position at the Combo side of the rivers, Kinshasa, the capital of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, was on the right bank, while on the left bank was Brazzaville, the capital of the Republic of the Congo. Spanning the river far ahead in the horizon was a splendid bridge which joined the two capital cities.
Thank you. You see, this is one of the things about travel writing. Apart from entertaining your audience, you also teach them some history and geography. From this one now, you will know what River Congo is. You will know that it's a place where a lot of people go for recreation. You have joggers, you have loners, you have lovers. You can see the poetry in the book, in the story. Loners, lovers, joggers. And then you also see that the river has a lot of meaning to people. He said, for the lonely, it's a companion. For the weary, a solace. And for a writer, a repository of stories. These are some of the things that you must work on so that when you read, people read you, they will enjoy it. But more importantly, again, is that there are two Congos. I'm sure many people will know that there are two Congos. We have the Congo Kinshasa and we have Congo Brazzaville. And the dividing line is the River Congo. So this is something you learn. Let people learn something from your travel story. You are educating them. And then this one. Where is River Nile? Egypt. Okay. So, madam, you read for us. Take us to Egypt.
I'm planning to go to Egypt this summer, inshallah.
Oh, wonderful.
So, the River Nile. Lunch over, I climbed to the sun deck where I met some passengers who, like me, had also moved there to have a better view of the River Nile. The ship had by then picked up speed as we passed some barges and fishermen in canoes who could be seen throwing their nets into the water at the edge of the Great River. Also, at the edge of the river were lush farm lands laden with mangoes and bananas, as well as forests and swamps with palms and date trees. In the distance were estuaries of smaller rivers, as they joined the river Nile. The estuaries, according to one of the sailors, were full of Nile crocodiles, whom are known to be very ferocious. It was now getting hot on the sun deck, with the midday sun directly above our heads. The hitherto called riverside breeze had now changed to a hot, stifling wind. Overhead, a column of white cranes flew as if piloting our ship, while in the distance, an approaching speedboat at the side of our ship made a detour towards the edge of the river. We soon passed flotillas of boats and a smaller ship from where some tourists gaily waved to us.
Thank you. Again, the fellow that wrote this, where was he or she? Where do you think he was when he wrote this? On a ship, yeah. On a ship. On the Nile, yes. That was where my wife and I stayed for about 10 days. Yes, because when you go to Egypt, you have the option, you have so many options for your trip. You can go and see the pyramids. You can go on the cruise on the River Nile. So we were on one of the boats on the Nile, and that was where I captured this scene. Because it's a lot of activities on both sides of the river. But more importantly, is what I want you to pay attention to, the observation around you. See what is happening around the edge of the river. There are farmlands with mangoes and bananas. So that's why my friend was asking the question that how much of observation do you do and writing? It's a lot of work. You will have to decide, I want to write a travel story. Then you must be ready. If you have, I'm not saying that all the time you must always be writing. You just stagger your time. Maybe 6 hours in a day, spend it to do your writing, then go and rest, and then come back. But there's no way you can do good writing without working hard for it. And if you go and open a book and you think you can write from a book, people will know that you wrote from a book. But you have to be observant. You look at the river, even when you're in the ship, you saw a lot of forest, palm and date trees, and then you saw the estuaries of small rivers as they join the River Nile. And then the estuaries, and then one of the sailors, according to one of the sailors, you see, that's why you need to talk to people. Ask questions. Anywhere you are, please, what do they do here? So that you will know, you can't know everything, but somebody will tell you. And then the other observation. So these are the ways you must pay attention to having taken notes, having taken observation, taking some data. The rewriting of your experience needs a lot of, and the beautiful thing about writing is that you don't need to get it right at once. Sometimes I write about 6 times before I get to this stage. My first draft may not be good enough. I will keep it. Or you can show it to a friend. You can't, there's nothing to hide. I mean, you don't have to be too proud to ask for help. You have a friend that you know is better than you, or your teacher, or somebody, you say, oh, please, can you help me go through this? Even at my level, I still pay editors to do last editing for my manuscripts. Anytime I finish writing either a novel or a biography, or even a travel story, I still give it to some editors who will charge you a fee to help you look at it and edit. It's allowed. There's nothing wrong with that. Because what you want is to bring out your best. You don't need to be ashamed or to say, oh, and they will say, I'm asking for help. No. Nobody, even after about 14 novels, 8 biographies, I still use editors to help me look at my work. So that's the good thing about writing. You don't need to do the first draft, second draft, and then show it to somebody to help you look. Some people will do it free. Some people will charge you. It's legitimate. It's done all over the world. So that is, so we have about 10 minutes to go. I'm looking at the time. Now, who will take us to Taiwan? This is my friend here. Let him take us to Taiwan for a change. Sorry, do you know where Taiwan is? You have an idea?
There's a conflict between China.
Conflict, China. Hey, that conflict will make you realize
Chinese
that.
Taiwan and Taiwan. And American Taiwan.
Okay.
Chips and microchips. And
Wonderful.
You ask
Taiwan is famous.
No, that's the point when they create DeepSeek. You've already have heard about DeepSeek. So when you ask ChatGPT about Taiwan, they are biased towards like American, the US point of view. They said it's an independent state.
Yes.
And when they ask DeepSeek, they say
it's part of China. Yes, the fight is always on. Okay, so let's.
An African in Taiwan. Framed by sheer seaside cliffs and majestic inland mountain peaks. Taroko National Park is Taiwan's most diverse national park and one of the island's top touristic destinations. Just before our departure from Taipei, we were all handed anti-nausea tablets because of the wind and elevation which we would traverse, which may cause some people to throw up. A few hours after departing Taiwan, we were soon surrounded by soaring mountains as we traversed the iconic Taraku Gorge, said to be Taiwan's most spectacular natural attraction. Situated as part of the Taroko National Park, the gorge is about 20 kilometers long, with marble walls that soar several hundred meters above the Liu River. And as we traveled through the narrow mountain road that had been hedged into the mountainside, the powerful diesel engine bus granted up the steer incline as the elevation became dizzy, and some participants who had forgotten to take their anti-nausea tables started throwing up. We could see far below us the stunningly picture. What's that?
Scene.
Picturesque. Scene of towering peaks, azure skies, and vast seas, scenic valleys that could take the breath away.
Thank you. It's just a description of the mountains of Taiwan, how we were climbing up the steep and we could see down below us. Very frightening situation. To the extent that some people started vomiting out of the height. But before we started that journey, they gave us tablets to stop us from vomiting. Because when you climb, sometimes because of the vomiting, because of the height, it can make you feel nauseous and start vomiting. It's just to describe your experience. Because sometimes people will say, even though the place looks beautiful, it also has its own side effect because of the way it was made. So for me, I think we have done quite a lot today.